Hello, everybody. And hello especially to the Stream Elements bot on YouTube, which decided that today he would show up after literally about a month or so of ghosting. It's as far as I can remember. Probably more. Maybe less. Not that it does a whole lot. Kind of does nothing, actually. Very, very useless. But yeah, glad to see you're here. What do I pay you for? It's free. Alright. Today is very much a different stream than usual. Today, I'm trying Lisp for the first time. I'm moving away from C. It's my first... maybe not. I was gonna say it's my first non-C-like language, non-C-derived language. I don't think that's quite accurate. Because... of that time that I did those... different programming languages, I was trying them out, and I tried out a few functional programming languages, which are actually somewhat derived from Lisp, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. I remember I did Gleam. There it is with a little star. And it compiles to Erlang. Parentheses look a lot like C. Not really. I mean, doesn't it use parentheses in the way that C uses brackets? I don't know. Okay, it's based off of Erlang. Why did I think it was based off of Clojure? Which is based off of Lisp, I think. I don't know. Is there a map of languages and which languages derive from which languages? I feel like there is, but I don't remember if I ever saw it, of programming languages. If there isn't, I'd love to create it. Just as a fun little thing one day. We have a map, but is it interactive? Because this is kind of not very easy to understand. Should be an interactive map. Okay. Let me see. Alright. We got the K over here. We have Karen. Sorry, Carol. Zoom is really not it. Okay, there we go. Where do I go from here? Okay, where's even Lisp? There's Lisp. Alright, there's Lisp. Feels weird. Why can't I move with bracket? Middle mouse. I can move with anything. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, we got Lisp going on here, which links to. See, isn't Clojure derived from Lisp? Dialect of Lisp. So how are they not connected? There's no connection between Clojure and Lisp, even though Clojure is a dialect of Lisp. Wait, okay. Clojure inspired Elixir, I think. Okay. I'm starting to draw a map. Now, I'm drawing this map kind of very manually, but Lisp has a dialect called Clojure. Clojure has inspires Elixir, which is used to implement Erlang, which is then what Gleam compiles to, and I tried out Gleam. So in that sense, I've tried a Lisp-derived language. If the way that I am interpreting this whole thing makes sense. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Kind of. No, wait, I read that wrong. Okay, I read that wrong. So Elixir runs on the Beam virtual machine, which also implements Erlang. Not that Elixir was used to also implement Erlang. That was a little weird. Maybe I should have read that a little better. But it does say that the platform is Erlang. So it is fully interoperable with Erlang. So yes, I think we can consider that that one language I tried is derived from that. I also tried um, Marlboro, no, OCaml, which is mostly influenced by C, actually. I'm not sure why I thought. It is functional, to be fair, but it isn't exclusively functional. Also, Lisp is not functional, by definition. I don't think this is the Lisp I'm talking about. I think this is the Lisp I'm talking about. Also, who the fuck decided that the word Lisp would be Lisp, where someone with a Lisp cannot say that word properly? Whose idea was that? Whose decision was it to do that? And what level of hell is that person currently in? That is crazy. Anyway, Lisp is like the second programming language, high level programming language ever, if I'm not mistaken. Second oldest, yeah, second oldest high level programming language, still in common use after Fortran. Still in common use. So, is there anything that was deprecated? Maybe something that never made it as a actual finished product. I don't know. Anyway, there's a creators, if I'm not mistaken. This guy mostly, and then this guy did something for the language as well. Yeah. So this guy did something, and this guy did some other stuff. So their pictures are on the Wikipedia page for Lisp for these specific reasons. And John is on top, and Steve is on the bottom. Yep. I know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Here we have like a full-on list of everything. We got Lisp 1, Lisp 1.5, Lisp 2, Mac Lisp, Interlisp, MDL, Lisp Machine Lisp. Wait, there were like Lisp specific machines. Like built specifically to work with Lisp, which is crazy. Before Sig, there was Zil. We got Friends Lisp, which is not somebody's name. Common Lisp, MIT Scheme, XLisp, T. There's a language called T, alright, which apparently I've gone to their Wikipedia page before. Leading to where we are now, where there's essentially three kinds of common. Well, no, common is not the right word because one of them is called the Common Lisp. Three kinds of dialects that are common nowadays. Well, I don't know about Racket. I didn't know about Racket. Okay, so I was talking about Common Lisp, Scheme, and Clojure. Apparently, there's also Racket, whatever that is. Okay, so Common Lisp is the one I want to look at because it's called Common Lisp. I don't really have much more logic behind that, other than it sounds like the not the common one, but it sounds like the, I don't know what to call it. It sounds like the default one, kind of. Um, Alright, so I kind of want to look at what they look like first. This is Common Lisp, which has... What is this plus? Okay, I've looked at some Lisp stuff, but not at a plus. There was no plus. Doesn't look very nice. I don't know about closure, but I'm assuming if they all look the same, I have to say I'm not super fan of the syntax. Although it does remind me a lot of even a more direct syntax closer to how assembly works, or to how what is that? 3-address code. Is that what it's called? The compiler intermediate language? It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Right, because like this thing here, for example, if I'm not mistaken, is a subtraction between this value and this value. So in that sense, it kind of feels like that 3-address code thing. That's the impression that I get. I don't know. The entire point is to check it out. I've looked up enough to understand what's going on, because otherwise I would spend most time just getting started before I actually get started, and I kind of just want to do this today, unless I end up really loving it and then switching to Lisp instead of C, but I don't know about that one. So yeah, I kind of want to make it a one-time thing. Alright, so we have... I'm going to keep this open as some examples, because this is for Common Lisp. This is the one I'm going to be checking out. It does seem harder to read, but at the same time less ambiguous. Like one example that I saw is, like in C, you can do something like this. And you never really know, well, in C and other languages, you can do something like this and you never really know how this is going to be done. Is it going to be done left to right? Or is it going to be done multiplication first, then addition? Like, you're not entirely sure. It depends on the programming language. It might even depend on the compiler. Like, there should be a way of how it's done. Maybe all languages have even agreed on how to do this. I don't know. But the truth is, you're not ever entirely sure. So, with a syntax like... Well, I'm assuming the syntax for this with something like Lisp would be this. It would be pretty clear what is going on. You know what? I'm gonna figure out if this is gonna be my first Lisp code, analyzing this thing and seeing what it prints. All right. Either way, I just wanted to look at the syntax of these four, even though this is the one that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using Common Lisp. I already installed the thingy, because it's interpreted, so it's not It's not a compiler. It's more of a... How do you pronounce this thing? REPL? Read eval print loop? Rep... You gotta pronounce it as REPL. There's no other way to pronounce this, right? Anyway. Alright, so this is what it looks like. We're going to be looking more at this one, but like the main thing about it is I think you kind of would write this expression in C, where in C we have something like this. Here you would write it like this. How would I assign it? How would I assign it? To a variable. Let. Right? Would I do let and then another parenthesis, A, and close these two parentheses? Is that right? I don't know. I guess we'll see once I actually start writing the code. Alright, I want to look at scheme now. So I feel like this one is... Is there like a really big project that uses this? I feel like there is. Though I'm not seeing anything on the Wikipedia page for it. And oh my god, I've been sitting at this chair for an hour and the allergies are starting the second that I start a stream. I swear to god, this is so annoying. I've been doing fine. I was playing Dark Souls. Like, I guess the constant dying was keeping me from noticing my allergies, maybe. But maybe the same kind of frustration that I'm gonna feel when it comes to compiling Lisp might distract me from my allergies. I don't know. Nothing really stops you from doing the parentheses in C, you mean? Yeah, that's true. But the fact is that, because the language kind of forces you to do it like this, then yeah. Again, for that matter, even C could force you to do that. Also, the fact that everything, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of treated like a list, which is why Lisp is the list processor. If I'm not mistaken, that's what it stands for. Lisp processor or programmer? List processing. That's what it stands for. So everything is kind of a linked list. That's very interesting. Alright, I was looking at scheme, but I couldn't see examples here. Yeah, this, I guess. Why the double parentheses here? I find this kind of unreadable. I have to say, I'm not. Then again, I'm just not used to it. That's why I find it unreadable. Obviously, I gotta get used to it. Closure. All right. I'm not gonna spend too much time looking at ones that I'm not actually gonna work with. Why do closure not have the syntax? Isolated FS. That is my... Right now it's kind of a misleading name because I haven't fully isolated the file system, but essentially in my operating system, every application will have its own file system. Completely sandboxed from each other, so isolated like that. Right now what they have is they have their own virtual file system and they also have a common file system. Because they always had a common file system and now would have to rewrite a lot of applications to only work with their own file system. And I would have to have like a permission system and whatnot. So in the meantime, it's not isolated, but it is kind of, they have a virtual file system. But that's why it's called isolated, because eventually it's going to be sandboxed. Okay, this font is horrifying. What the hell what is that F? Christ. I find that hard to read. Alright, yeah, they're saving one word, because one letter, because for Common Lisp it's defun. This is defun. Right, so they're saving this character here. Closure is on top of JVM. I feel like I knew that. Point of the OS, mostly just fun. Mostly just doing stuff for the sake of doing it. Most programs are in user space. Pretty much only a few kernel utilities are in kernel space, or anything that relies heavily on the file system because it's easier to work with it in kernel space, but there's no real reason besides that those are in kernel space. Most of everything should be in user space, or will be in user space. Okay, Racket, I hadn't heard of you before. Code examples, you have code examples. Oh, you have this. Alright. If 0 n then triangle 2 solid red, let t Sierpinski minus n1 freeze above t beside t. Totally. How likely am I to be able to... No, okay, because this uses a... Okay, I was wondering. It's using an image library. So, like, how likely am I to be able to do this? I don't know. Also, I did hear that Lisp is more commonly associated with Emacs, and I'm not entirely sure why. By the way, I watched a bunch of videos on Lisp, a lot of stuff about it and whatnot, but this video I found to be... I like this format of video. It genuinely explains everything in less than 2 minutes. Although the video is 2 minutes because of intro and outro and all that stuff. But it's kind of really sad to find old videos from people who are now deep into AI psychosis, low-key.
However, it was the first...
I was wondering, why is it starting here? I was watching the video when I was doing this. This counts as watching the video. The configurations files for Emacs uses Lisp. Okay, that's yeah. That explains a lot. Either this video got deleted a second ago, or YouTube is being so fucking stupid right now. Oh, it's back. It's back. Okay.
Lisp, a dynamic general-purpose programming language famous for pioneering many of the programming techniques we take for granted today. It was created in 1958 by John McCarthy at MIT, making it the second high-level language ever after Fortran the year before. However, it was the first interpreted language that could be executed step by step without a compiler. In addition, it's responsible for a variety of other language innovations.
For God wrote in Lisp code when he filled the leaves with green, the fractal flowers and recursive roots, the most lovely hack I've ever seen. And when I ponder snowflakes never finding two the same, I know God likes a language with its own 4-letter name. I have to say, the expectation that these people are, both this video, this quote, and just other stuff that I've watched about Lisp, is genuinely making me think that I'm about to, like, I don't know, revolutionize computing by just writing a fucking Lisp script. Like, I have no idea what's happening. The bar is so high right now.
Like recursion, dynamic typing, garbage collection, first-class functions, and more. Its name stands for Lisp processor, and syntactically, it's known for its prolific use of parentheses, because at its core, almost everything is treated as a linked list data structure. Each element in the list is called a cons, or constructor, which contains 2 pointers. The car points to the actual data, while the CDR points to the next element in the list. Developers write S expressions, which might start with a function or operator, followed by one or more arguments. This gives rise to a powerful macros feature where developers can extend the syntax of Lisp and create domain-specific languages. It's like a programmable programming language. Common Lisp is still in use.
Okay, that's another claim that I've heard a lot. I fail to see how this is different from using C macros. I don't know, man. I feel like they're overhyping it a little bit.
Today, but it's directly inspired many other languages like Scheme, Clojure, Ruby, and JavaScript, just to name a few. To get started, install Common
JavaScript. Okay. See, this thing I installed.
Lisp on your machine, then create a file ending in .lsp. First, create an S expression, which can represent an atom like a number or symbol, or a list of multiple values. To print to the standard output, we can reference the format function, followed by T for true, then the string we want to print out. And it contains a ton of built-in functions like print to simplify things. Define a local variable with the let keyword, and it will be lexically scoped to the context in which it's defined. However, you can also define global variables with def parameter or def var, which are dynamically scoped and can be used anywhere. All these
Alright. I think that's just how Fireship is. Yeah, that's why I said, like, this format of video is actually so great. Especially for someone who wants to do the damn thing themselves instead of being spoon-fed exactly what to do. He just gave me everything I need. Although, to be fair, he told me, install this, then create a file called this, then write this. He hasn't told me how to run it. I don't know if he tells me that later or not. But like, this type of video is incredibly helpful. It just gives you the bare minimum of what you need and enough pointers to then go and research yourself and figure out what you need to do. Right? I figured out what to install. I figured out the extension that I need to use. Probably it's program and then the name of the file, which is S I already forgot the name of it, honestly. SCPL, SPLC, SCP, SBCL, SBCL, not SPCL. So maybe a little bit more of this, a little bit less shilling for AI would be A-okay in my book. Because this type of video I find to be genuinely great. I want to get started on something, you give me a 2-minute video. You give me everything I need. I need to go deeper, I figure it out myself from the pointers that you've given me. I prefer this over a 30-minute video that's like, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so-and-so, and today I'm going to teach you how to install Lisp. So in order to install Lisp, Lisp is a programming language that is the second oldest programming language, and blah 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 blah. And to install Lisp, we're going to need to use this. Well, the worst part is then those kinds of tutorials are like 30 minutes long, but they give you just about the same amount of information as this one gave you. Because like if you look at the install script that he shows here, he gives me two options. This is how you do it on Mac, this is how you do it on Debian, which also works on Ubuntu. How do I do it on Arch? I have no idea, but I can just look up SBCL Arch. And there you have it, that's how you do it on Arch, by the way. I don't use Arch, by the way. Nobody's bragging about using Arch anymore these days. What's happening? We're losing the ancient texts. I find this kind of thing, like, you're just giving me the same amount of information as a 30-minute video, just condensing it down to 2 minutes, and I'll just research everything else that I need to do, and in the process I'll also learn how to do it myself. Alright, let's give this a try. So we're gonna call it a Lisp. Lisp play. It was supposed to be Lisp play, not Lisp pay. Lisp play for playing with Lisp and also for display. Not sure why display, I'm not doing anything visual, pretty sure. I don't know. Does Zen have stuff for Lisp? So on the Common Lisp website, I keep wanting to type Common List. My hand keeps trying to go to the T. On here, I did see something and I forgot to install it, to be honest. That kind of sucks. Oh, look at that. I actually hadn't seen this before. You know, the funny thing is, from what I heard, I've watched some videos on the history of Lisp, and the wording about Lisp is so similar to the wording about AI, just from the 80s. Because it was also considered to be an AI language. Not entirely sure why, but more so not for like LLMs or neural networks, anything like that. More so for like automation, like expert systems and stuff like that, which I think is a better field of research if you ask me, but IDK. Clearly the investors don't agree. So it's funny that you've definitely I've definitely heard a lot of the same wording when it comes to AI now from the 80s when it came to Lisp. Anyway, this is how you install. Okay, then I need to install a package manager. And then you also want me to install Emacs and Slime. Do I need to do that? I don't want to do I don't want to do Emacs, and I don't remember how I got this, how I got to this, but somewhere on this website it told me alternatives for other IDEs, including Zed. And do I have it open on my laptop by any chance? All right, it's Lisp cookbook. The parentheses will use more tokens. You know, I get a feel. Okay, there's more parentheses than there's brackets on C, but C has a lot of brackets. Like, you're just used to them, I feel like. I feel like somebody that does a lot of Lisp is probably super used to this kind of stuff and doesn't see it as too many parentheses. Alright, Z, new as of 2026, so I picked the right time to do this. Zcl is an extension for the Z editor. It provides smart type-aware code completion, smart parameter completion, an LSP, and tree sitter. Hope that works better than Clang has been working lately. Jupyter REPL integration, and a rainbow bracket support. Rainbow brackets. Doesn't have an image. You need to build the editor plugin, so you need a Rust toolchain. Oh my fucking god. Although, to be fair, I do have that. Alright, okay. Should be simple enough to do this. Don't think that's what I meant to copy. That's already running Lisp, isn't it? Bad substitution. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. No, I love it. This is why I love building things from source, because it always works on the first try. You don't have to debug it or figure out what the fuck any of this means. So it's good like that. What the genuine fuck am I supposed to do here? What do I do? The entire thing is done in Lisp, isn't it? Oh my god. It said it needed something called Quick Lisp. Did this say it? Will be installed automatically during the build process. Make build or make setup Quick Lisp. Alright, let's try that. Maybe I haven't done that one. Alright. So make build now. That's still bad substitution. Ay, por el amor de Dios. I understand this is under development. It says new as of 2026. So this is why you have to build it from source, but like... that's annoying. But it already installed Quick Lisp for me, I guess? Because I did need to install it according to this. And I'm not using Emacs. Lord, no. God help me, I'm not doing that. Although I did SBC. Okay, let me make sure that I actually have it installed, just to be clear. Okay, the Sabbatical is installed. Oh well. We'll figure this out later, maybe. Let's maybe get started. I technically don't need support from Z for this one. Alright, I can technically just write whatever I want. Alright, we're gonna close this project. Before doing that, we're actually gonna close all of this stuff. Alright. And we're gonna open the display. And we're gonna create a file called hello lisp. Which, by the way, I mean, is it worth at least checking? Is there a eLisp language support? I don't know what eLisp is. Cloud Code Inspired Dark. Actually, that's a nice color scheme. Just maybe make this a little bit brighter. Elixir snippets, linker scripts, malisp, liquid soap. Okay, so this does not look like there is language support for Lisp by itself, and I have no idea what these are, so I'm just gonna ignore them. And again, I should be okay with just writing something very, very basic. Like, this should be enough. Wait, hold on. I don't even technically need this, do I? I could just do... I could just go on the sabbatical. Which, by the way, I'm going to call it that because at least I remember the name. Can I just do format T hello world? That's it. We've done Lisp, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye. All right. Yeah, that works. And it isn't written in a file. It's just directly interpreted. So, okay, you can go away. Did I tell you to go away, for the love of God? Alright, so let me try this. So I let... which declares a variable, but then the name of it comes from this? Like the name of the variable? Am I just giving it by giving it this? Just gonna type hello, cannot be bothered. Why am I doing double parentheses here, for example? I have no idea. Do I need to do a new line? Probably not. Alright. Right, actually, the last value of an expression is considered a return type, so that's why it's printing, I think. Okay, so let me try something else. How about I let the thing that I wrote before, I closed it, so it's gone. I didn't even save it. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like... I still don't understand why I need the double parentheses. Can I do it without a double parentheses? What happens if I do that? No, that was not good. Well, what did I do? What did I do now? Type help for debugger help or sbext exit. Can I just type exit? What the fuck is that? Do I have to type that whole thing? No, also no. Alright, there's help. But exit will not exit. What about abort? Wait, what am I doing? Okay, I've figured it out. Scommetto che sei italiano? No, non sono italiano. Alright. I fucked it up real bad. I still don't understand the point of the double parentheses. I'm gonna try that again. Fuck it. You don't get to tell me what to do. This time, though, I'm just gonna close this one once, and then I'm gonna do string uppercase str and close that. Alright, so what is your problem now? Hello is not a symbol and cannot be used as a local variable. I see. Also, why is everything uppercase now? Alright, so... I can't say that explained exactly why I need the double parentheses, but it explains that I do need it. Yes. Like, why do I need these two when I'm immediately closing them? Just one doesn't work. I understand why I have two here, because I opened one here, one here. That makes sense. And for that matter, I'm declaring a variable which exists within this scope. Right? And then, not necessarily asking for help from chat, I'm mostly thinking to myself, but if you do have the answer to the question, I wouldn't mind hearing it. Because I am new to the language, so not asking for help, but if you, it's welcome at the same time. Just going through the whole thought process. Z has syntax highlighting for list. Okay, let's not by default. This is the okay. I'm gonna write the same script actually, which is gonna be helpful. Save it. Doesn't look like Z has it. Try Lisp in Z. Okay. Huh? Excuse me? Do I need to enable it some other way? Because, like, that just took me to the Z download. A fast modern editor for Lisp, M-, clear syntax, smart tooling, and zero distractions. According to their website, it has it. This is generic though. See, okay. Lisp debugging isn't available yet. All right, that's okay. The thing is, this page on their website makes it look like they support it very natively. But for example, I look at the Bash one, and it tells me language server protocol, and it takes me to this link to the actual Bash LSP. So is this just a placeholder that's just fucking lying to me? Is it just vibe coded? Because this definitely feels AI generated, but like, you're low-key lying to me, it feels like? There is a way to change a language for the file here. I can just do this. But there is nothing for Lisp. Closure, scheme, none of those I have installed by default. I didn't find them in the extensions. Well, Closure has Closure, though it is a third party, but it does have it. What's really weird is that this page makes it seem like it's something official that they have, when it very much doesn't feel like this is true. Platform sends values to name and then uses them in the body. You can set more than one name at a time. Each name value pair is in parentheses. The entire list of name value pairs needs to be in parentheses to set them apart from the body. Okay, I'll reread that comment once I'm actually doing the damn thing. I'm trying to understand what's happening here. As it seems, it's a quickly generated AI plugin. Oh, of course. Fuck's sake. Okay, so the project listed on the Common Lisp website, as well as Z here, if I'm not mistaken, is AI generated and seems to straight up not work. Then Z has this page about Lisp, which makes it seem like they have native support, but, you know, I don't see it anywhere. It's not in the extensions here anywhere. And it is also not pre-installed. So this very much feels like it's lying to me. Also, this kind of wording, very AI. While native Lisp debugging isn't available yet, Z offers powerful debugging capabilities for other languages with full tap support. Why would you put this on the Lisp page? This entire page is AI generated, isn't it? The absolute state of this fucking industry nowadays, I swear to God. Anyway, alright, let's just write it with this shit, or maybe even install the closure extension. It's the closer I can get. I love that the download button actually like increased there. Very helpful. How many times do I have to click on delete before it deletes? There we go. 3 times is the answer. Do they have the racket language? They have racket support. Also realize I wonder now if the closure one was just a little bit broken, but you know what, this works for me. I'll keep the racket one. Again, the absolute state of this fucking industry, where Z just straight up gaslights you because they whoopsie auto-generated a little bit of fake news with AI. Just another whoopsie from another AI-powered company. We're all very shocked by this development. Alright. The let form sets values to names and then uses them in the body. Okay, so this is where it sets the value. This is where it uses the body. Okay. You can set more than one name at a time. Each name value pair is in the parentheses. So this thing, the inner parentheses, right? I think. Then the entire list of name value pairs needs to be in parentheses to set them apart from the body. Okay, so technically I can also do this. Am I understanding that correctly? Where essentially, like, this means declare variables in here, and this is like, here's a variable, here's another. This is the body. Built-in racket and Lisp. They don't have built-in racket either. That was a lie. I installed it. Yeah, no, that page is 100% AI generated. From the first off, when you look at Bash, which actually they have support for it, you have this thing here. But also, first off, the M dash followed by 3 examples or 3 different properties that this apparently has. followed by the fact that it says that native debugging is not available yet. And yet, this is an entire section talking about Lisp debugging, only to tell us that they don't have it. You know, very suspicious. I don't know, man. Sounds to me like maybe verify the output of your LLMs if you insist on using the goddamn thing. Sorry, I'm asking too much. All right. So will this compile then? Can I... Wait, did that work? No, hold on. I'm just getting deeper and deeper into the... No, that doesn't work. Do I have to do... How do I exit SBCL? I actually have to use this dem function? This is a snippet. This is a snippet. This is a snippet. This is not AI. It's just showing up more and more. God damn. It's beautiful to see the bubble actually pop. This is actually trustworthy. And let's face it, it's probably powered by some LLM adjacent or like transformer adjacent thing. But this is a common good use for this, which clearly is more performant. I did type that thing, but oh, did I have to type it inside of an expression? This is kind of annoying. Yeah, okay. I made it out. Okay, can I do SBCL help? Yes. Alright, so I can make it eval. I can make it load file name. So not just a file name, but load file name, right? Yes. Okay. So let's do that. What did I call it? I call it hello.lisp. So the sabbatical load hello.lisp. That did not work. Oh, because I misspelled it. This is really annoying though. Typing this to exit the damn thing. Because I made a typo in it. Weird. It's I don't like that necessarily. Control C doesn't work. I don't know about other keystrokes. Caught style warning. Variable other is defined but never used. Okay, but you also didn't print anything? So, okay, continue. Retry using continue. That's not great. The variable continue is unbound. I didn't mean to use it as a variable. Anyway, abort. I'm lost as hell here. Can I just... See, now it works. Why didn't you print before? I'm assuming because I wasn't actually executing it. I was probably just loading it, and I probably needed to do something else to use it. Like use value, maybe? I don't know. Is there really no better way to do that? Thank you for watching the ad. Amazing. All I'm seeing here is SBEXT exit. This is the most clunky way of closing a program ever. GDB, move aside. We have a new winner. Oh, what about just quit? Would that work? Let's try that. Okay, quit works. That is slightly less clunky. Exit also works, so maybe I don't need to use that prefix. Alright. But again, back to, I have my program loaded now. Do I call it? Does it have a name? What is its name? How do I call it? How do I use it? Because again, I loaded it, but I don't think I ran it. Okay, so sabbatical run loaded the program. I usually build an executable and run it. You can also use script if you prefer. Use Emacs as a debugger. I will not be doing that. Thank you very much. SBCL script prog.lisp. I didn't do anything. SBCL load works for pretty much all of them, but then it doesn't do anything. Okay, this. Okay, eval. Okay, I gotta eval the damn thing. Alright, so go back to load. And then I'm assuming I just have to require it. But okay, my package. So I don't have a package. So I'm assuming I was supposed to do something more. Besides this very simple script. Because the script itself runs. But yeah. Alright, we're still learning the basics. So let's just do it directly in the sabbatical. Oh, okay. See, there's the explanation. I would have figured it out eventually. This is declare variables inside of these parentheses. This is one. This is another. Okay. And then use them here. And for example, we can do let declare a variable x. It's going to be this number. I didn't even look at it. Y, it's going to be this number. And we're done declaring. We're now going to do the body, which is going to be x and y. And that's going to give us 387, which is correct. Very nice. Okay. Okay, then we get to dynamic variables, which are sort of like globals, but more useful as they are dynamically scoped. Fuck you mean by that? The fuck you mean by that? But the question that I have is, can I define it? Like, write it here. Oh, is this the type? Is that what the thing is? Alright, I defined it. String. Alright, and then can I just I called it string with this. Can I just do that then? No. Can I then defun print, because I'm pretty sure print already exists. Print string. Alright, and then can I do print v? Okay, I'm starting to understand. Okay, so the syntax of this is C equivalent, name of the function, arguments of the function, value of the function? I mean, body of the function? Like, because we already established it's... what was it? Hold on, let me read the chat again. Values and then a body, so yes. Alright, so I can do that, Okay, that's very good. That is very good. And then, this binds string to a new value, so can I do that now? I'm going to change the value of string to new value of string. Close that. Did I forget a parenthesis? I did. Can I just put it in? No? How do I recover from this? Hello? Abort? Hello? Oh god. I opened 2, and I probably should have put a body as well. But what do I do now? How do I go back? Ah, there we go. Okay. Abort. Alright, let's try that again. Let string gets a new value. Done with the declarations, then a body and close. Which returns nil because this function does nothing. This declaration does nothing. Is that okay? Is that not okay? I guess we'll see. Print v. That is not okay. That was not enough. Clearly. Because okay, this doesn't have a history, and that's really annoying. I don't like this interpreter. I definitely don't like the sabbatical. I'm not enjoying, but Lisp I like. I just don't like the sabbatical. I feel like I should take a sabbatical and let someone else step in. Binds string to a new value, but it doesn't actually... Oh, okay, the old value is restored. So I did it within this scope. So if I do this, as they do it here, right, change the value of string to new value. I'm done declaring, and I print v. This is the body of this whole thing. Then it will print the new value. But if I try to print the old value again, I'm going to get the old value. So, okay, it's kind of like... a little bit like shadowing. A new operating system just dropped called vibecoders. Yeah, I did see it. I watched it on stream the other day. That was very interesting. Seems like a funny little project that somebody implemented just to have some fun. If it was meant to be serious, then it's ridiculous, but otherwise, I think it was just meant to be... I don't think anyone's gone to that level yet. Although the concept might sound good, how very dynamic it is. Yeah, no. I don't think AI is wrong, I just don't think LLMs are not the way to go. Alright, let's get to some lists or something. You can use first, second, and all the way up to 10th. Yo, Jester streaming. Alright, so I can do... do I call it list? Yes, list. List 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then... Oh my god, can I genuinely not go back? How am I supposed to edit the code that I'm writing? Running on actual metal. Did he say it runs on bare metal? I feel like he said that it runs on bare metal, and that would be kind of crazy. Also, the entire thing is powered by an LLM, not made by an LLM. Okay, there it is. This freaking interpreter is the worst software I've used in a long time. It's horrifying. It's really, really bad. But yeah, I feel like... Considering it has an LLM inside of it, it probably uses a local model, even though he talked about... he talked about... Copilot, and I don't think Copilot works locally, but I don't know. Couldn't care less, to be honest. But if it relies on Copilot, then it has a whole networking stack to talk to it, right? Or, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yes, they don't expect you to use this thing as an editor, but genuinely, am I not allowed to make mistakes? I had to delete the entire line because I'm not allowed to go back. There's no cursor in this thing. Speaking of which, I want to redo my terminal in my operating system. Just putting that out there. Alright, should we try writing then an actual program? Now that I kind of understand everything I'm doing, I even have syntax highlighting. And I know how to define functions. So let me try. Let me try then to do a defun. I have to give it a name first, so it's gotta be called testfun. No variable declarations, no arguments. I don't know what to call that. Anyway, you're just going to print, because I think the print is an actual function. You're going to print hello. Actually, you know what? I used to do hello worlds in different languages, so we're going to do that. We're going to print it in... How about Sicilian? Did I do Sicilian already? I feel like I did Sicilian already. Esperanto. Oh, I thought that would actually work. Alright, so this thing. Network stack at least. I feel like putting a local model is probably a lot easier than connecting with a whole network stack. You have to have like encryption at the very least, because I don't believe that they work with plain HTTP. You have to have a network driver. You have to have all. Well, to be fair, you also have to have other drivers for graphics, input, output. You have to have a very basic level of driver. It's just the kernel itself, besides the drivers, is just an LLM. LLM company CEOs celebrating because a guy made it. Nah, I just know they were taking down some notes at Microsoft. They were like, vibecoders. What is this? Guys, somebody leaked Windows 12. Oh yeah, you could also set up a server, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Not the easiest way to do it, but I guess. Alright, so here we have a function called testfun, which should print this thing. Now, can I load? Is that a function that exists? Can I... Wait, hold on. There is a section on I/O, actually. So maybe that will tell me. With open file stream merge path names data.txt do times format, you can read the file into a string using UIOP read file string merge path names data.txt user home dir path name. Alright. So no, we're just gonna quit. Alright, can I do then defun? No, wait. Yeah, load this. And then do testfun. Boom. Why does it print twice? Why are you printing twice? Could an LLM do an HTTP network stack? Probably, just not very good one. It is just, again, it is just a project done for fun. So if in that case, yeah. But again, I'm worried that somebody might look at that project and think that this is something that you should seriously try to do. And the result is going to be catastrophic. Anyway, there is a reason why it prints. I'm just not entirely sure. But, for example... Here they're doing a function similar to mine, but mine that was also printing twice, wasn't it? That was a little weird. Anyway, what I am gonna do, abort. No, quit. Alright, what I'm gonna do is I should be able to do just a one-liner for this, probably with parentheses, and then do testfun, which is gonna run it just once this time. Just once. Well, so that solves the problem. We don't have to look more into it. Why did this happen? I don't know. I don't care. And also quit. Now I do remember that that does keep it open, but what if I do script then? That doesn't print anything or do anything, even though it's not evaluating. What is evaluating? It's not evaluating. It does seem like print is returning what it prints, because the last value. To be fair, yeah, I could just call the function in here. The last value is treated as the return, which I think Rust took that from its syntax from this. There we have it. Okay. All right. That's clearly not how you do new lines, because it just changed it to Mondon. My God! No way. Holy shit, that syntax is something else. Nope, that's wrong. I have to use the format T. Crazy. That didn't even work. Should be line feed, right? No, none of this is fucking working. What the hell? One line feed, okay. I am doing that, aren't I? No, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm reading I need to stop reading the questions in Stack Overflow and start reading the answers that actually give you the goddamn answer. Alright, so this is how you do that. So I'm not adding them. So I should be able to just add this, which seems like shorthand for what I want. Yes, okay. Kind of weird. Why not just use... Oh, weird as hell. Anyway, okay. I guess. Yeah, it works. Fine. Whatever. Okay, what I don't have is something that I actually want to write. Something I actually want to build with this thing. Which low-key makes it difficult to continue from here. But that was definitely weird. But I'm enjoying it. I like I like it. I have to say I like it. It is an interesting way of doing things, which I don't necessarily mind. But it is. It's got some weird stuff happening. Because I feel like even something like this is just C convention. Is there a reason that we use specifically escape N? Like, what's the historical reason for using the N character in that? I have no idea. Because it's decimal 10. Is it just because of new line? I feel like it's just because of new line then. In which case, Lisp doesn't use it. Yeah, no, I was wondering if there's a reason for that. Like, for example, you use this because of the fact that No, never mind. Never mind. I think it is just convention. IDK. If that's the case, then it feels really weird because, again, literally every language I've used has been derived from C. Even though some may have been inspired by this, I don't think they're directly derived from this. So yeah, they probably just use N because it's new line, which makes this actually a lot more nonsensical because, like, why was this the thing that you chose for escape sequences? But whatever. Also, the fact that it's NR, well, RN usually, which means carriage return and new line happens to fit the exact same letters. So yeah, it's probably just convention. All right. This does not change the fact that I don't know what program to make. Oh, you know what? What there is? Where's Odin? There's this. Good old reliable over here. Which is the Odin's... Odin... program. It's not the Odin program. It is just a program running on Odin in a little interpreted language, very, very basic, that just interprets these commands and prints out the accumulated value of it. Alright, so I will need not lisps, I will need loops for this, which I'm not seeing here. Unless they happen to be here. There's map. Map is very similar to what I want. But of course, I kind of want to see a loop. See, the thing is, this program, when I wrote it in functional languages, such as Gleam or even Swift, because it allows you to do functional programming, I used map to write the program. But kind of want to see a loop in this thing, so I would rather not do that. See, this thing. Come to think of it, you can definitely see the Lisp influence in functional languages that use this type of stuff. Where it's like, take this value, pass it on to this function, pass the result of that into this function, which then uses this whole thing. And then all of that becomes the value of this thing. Now that I see Lisp, I understand the influence that led to this point. I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but this is just the initial feeling that I get from it. Alright, this is the thing in Swift. I also just used reduce here. But it's very similar code. But anyway, how would I go about writing this? Destructuring. Wait. Destructuring a list just breaks it apart into elements. So here it's kind of separating the first element, second element, and the rest of the elements. This is really useful for data manipulation. This language is great for data manipulation. I can immediately see that. Alright, I do think, for example, it doesn't have while loops, because if I'm not mistaken, the Fireship video... Wait, hold on, I still have it open, actually. Come on, man. Be serious. Yeah, okay. There it is. He has a loop, but not a while loop, but then he shows how to make a while loop. The entire time I was talking, by the way, I was waiting for Firefox to open a link. Just FYI. Yeah, here is an example of making a while loop with a macro, which is really interesting. It's got seems to have very powerful meta programming, which is very nice. Alright, the loop macro is built in, so it's a macro itself, okay? For x in these values, all right, do print x. Okay, so can we do something like this? Can we do something like this? I don't think we need you anymore. With loop for x in, what is this? Why is this needed? 1, 2, 3. Do print x. So very interesting that here it uses the words for and do. This doesn't give me the same kind of like 3 address code like syntax that I've been seeing so far. That's kind of interesting. Not sure what's going on here. Not sure for in do. Although it's very interesting that this language has for in. It took a while for C-like languages to get this kind of syntax. For each and all that stuff. It wasn't always like that. You always used to do for the C way for the longest time. And Lisp had a better way of doing it since forever. I feel like if I had tried this language 10 years ago, I would have been mind blown by it. Anyway. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that works. So what if I do... Okay, first off, what happens if I don't do this? These languages I don't understand. Illegal function call. Oh! Am I declaring it as a constant because I'm using this thing here? Something like that, maybe? Let me look at the list. Oh, is it shorthand for list 1, 2, 3? Okay, let me see if it's shorthand for list 1, 2, 3. It feels like it's shorthand for that. What did I do? Seeing this here. Well, that's not the same thing. I would be surprised if they don't explain what that is here. But it doesn't look like they are. It's not a very complete tutorial or anything like that, but it is interesting. And it's just not very complete, maybe? Anyway, okay, that explains what that is. It is shorthand for this. At least that's my current understanding of that. If that's not true, then whatever. Alright, so can I make just do this? No. Okay, do you have any examples of how to do this? Not exactly what I'm going for. They're talking about map car. Is map car like map character? Maybe? It would be weird if it had a map char, but no, also because, yeah. The map function takes a function and a list, goes through each element in the sequence, and returns a new list where every element is the result of calling that function with the original element. Okay, so it's map. From functional programming, okay. What I don't understand is where the car comes from. Well, you've been talking about map so far. Yeah, this tutorial is a little bit confusing in some places. It's a little bit weird. Anyway, this is the equivalent of just calling even p on each one of these. And it has this syntax for calling the function. Which again, I don't understand what a syntax is short for. It seems like syntactic sugar, but I don't understand. Alright, so let me see. Lisp string to list. That's not exactly what I'm trying to do. Because this is for parsing. No, I mean just like iterating over strings. Why do I need to do all this? Well, for A across A, B, C, D. Okay. There we have it. Okay. Okay. There it is. And what's up with the formatting here? Also, what's happening if I do format T? Also, what does T stand for in format? God only knows. So I did see you do this. No, what symbol am I looking for here? This one. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, so that formats it how I want, which is okay. All right. So the Odin thing is plus plus multiply this symbol minus and divide. All right, so I want to go through them, and there is my program. Right. But what I really want to do is for each of them, I want to iterate over the value, which is x, based on the value of it, which is, wait, hold on, what's this? Processing strings, a character at a time, and why does it look like that? Did I select this? No, it just looks like that. Oh, because it's selected, okay. That's weird. Map function to process a string one character at a time. Alright. Yeah, for char across feels cleaner than this stuff. Collect char. Collect char. Alright, so there's a lot of keywords here that I need to get used to. Like instead of do, they do collect. What happens if I do collect x? Also, what do you use for comments here? No, 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 no. Lisp comment. Ah. Okay. So semicolon, nice. What did I do wrong? It's collecting them, but it's not like it's doing anything with them. So, yeah. Alright, so let's go back to do, and now we have my program here. But instead, what I want is I want to map them. Okay, so instead of this, I'm going to define a function, and I'm going to call it prog. Do I define... No, probably not like that, right? I don't know. Anyway, the program is just gonna be this thing for now, which I'm pretty sure there's gotta be some shorthand for this, for what I'm doing right now for this part. There's gotta be some shorthand for sure. But anyway, do prog x. Let's see if that's incorrect. Obviously, yeah. Let's go back to... Let's just do a smaller one, ideally. For functions. No, okay, I was doing this right, actually. This part is okay. So the issue is another one. And I cannot get used to... This is a lot of yapping. To tell me that something is wrong. Proclaiming s as a function. Unused argument... Huh? What? Where? What? Who? What? What? What's the issue? I don't understand what you're trying to tell me here. I am... First off, let me make that bigger. log on package, while in package, see also, backtrace, unused argument. What are you trying to tell me here? I have genuinely no idea what I'm looking at. Hold on. All right, let's try this. That still has a problem. So the problem is in here. Insane. Defun. Wait, what's this? This is the arguments to the function. This is the body of the function. What is this? Documentation for the function? What is that? But yeah, I have genuinely no idea what I'm doing wrong here. Once I figure out what I'm doing wrong in this code, I'm going to try and see what this does. Although if it is something documentation related, it might not work without a full LSP. But worth a shot, I guess. It's not like, see, didn't I copy that from here? Yeah, I copied that from here. So what does it mean to indirectly call a function? I'm so confused. Wait, you have multiple return values. Makes sense for this kind of language. I just hadn't thought of it. Damn, it's so interesting to move out of C. It's so weird. Alright, so the problem is not here. Okay, so what happens if I just like print X? You don't like that either. Alright, what happens if I just print a string like that? You don't like that either. C prints a single character. Doesn't it print like, isn't it like for an argument essentially? Kind of like the percentage does on C? I'm confused. Okay, I'm gonna try this one then. For a second. Just get back to something that compiles. Alright. Call it as fib3. Okay. That did nothing. Doesn't print, to be fair. Can I then do print like this? Yes, okay, that prints. 0, 1, 1, 2. Okay, that makes sense. What about fib10? 55. What about fib5? 5. I guess, yeah. Okay. So I'm doing defun x print or just format t hello, and that breaks. I can't say I understand the reason. Do I need this? No. Do I? Maybe empty is not okay? No. And this error is genuinely... At least it's referencing my file, so that's... Okay, hold on. It's definitely complaining about the defun prog do I format hello. By the way, I love that it makes everything capitalized. Proclaim as fuck. Is the name prog the problem? Should there maybe have been a little? Can we maybe have a slightly better error message? What is this shit? Come on, man. There we have it. Now it works. If I call hello, hello, that just prints hello because that's what this function does. And if I just make it do this, that won't work. That won't work. But if I make you print, that will work. Okay, so Fibonacci, thank you so much for this. And now, what does this do? Can you tell me? Again, LSP is not working, so I don't know what this is supposed to be. Is this documentation? I have no idea. Yeah, no clue what this is supposed to be. But anyway, my function works, and even without this, it's gonna be the same. Where it prints the value of my print. Alright, so going back to you now. I want you to do hello X. Which prints out the shit again. Alright. So now I need to run the program. Which I'm gonna do in two parts. First, I'm gonna interpret which command this is, and then I'm gonna do the accumulator. Because, yeah, we're supposed to assign to this value. But maybe actually with mapping. No, I would need something like reduce, not map. So, yeah, not super easy. And again, I'm doing this with a loop. But anyway, one part at a time. First, we gotta do the switch part of this. And do you have a condition? That was very not okay. Okay, conditions. Error and condition handling. Why are those two put together? That makes no sense to me. No, this is not it. Error conditions. Shout out to Java. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Equality? Okay, so can I do something like when equal x to the character does this work as character? No, not really. Character literals. Lisp character literals. And we got the AI again. Okay, yeah. I just saw how you do those. Just saw how you do this. I didn't need to ask the AI for this. Alright. That's how you do character literals. Alright, so when this, then I'm assuming here I put a print. It's a plus. Nope. Alright, can I try to understand what's happening here? No. The answer is no. Alright, let me look at the syntax for when again. Did I just make that up? Why did I think that this was an expression? Okay, so this is comparisons, but no, I want an if statement essentially. It's actually called if. That still didn't work. Action 1, action 2. Do I need an action 2? Not sure. Oh, wait, hold on. Inform starting at line 1, column 0, file position 0. Okay, so that's not very helpful, but at least you tried. How am I supposed to structure this? Okay, maybe like this. Oh, well, now that I structured it a little bit, I can see the error. No, that was not it. The value of this is not of type number. Neither is this. It's not supposed to be, anyway. By the way, you have if. Do you also have switch? If not, can I maybe try some meta programming to do switch? There's case. There's case. What's cond now? Okay, so it is a macro. It is a macro. I kind of want to see how to build that macro because I want to try that feature of the language. But I can't say I understand. These error messages are horrifying. I genuinely am just having an issue with the sabbatical, not the language. I like the language. I'm really enjoying the language. I'm hating this damn thing. Because obviously I'm going to make a lot of syntax errors when I'm trying a new language that is so different from what I'm used to. And this is not very helpful. Although this one in particular is telling me exactly what the error is, so I don't sorry, I'm complaining about the wrong thing. Conflicts with its asserted type number. Okay, so you expect this to be a number because this is a number? Char equal. Not chart, char. That is very interesting. Okay. Alright. So operator overloading, the poor man's operator overloading, I guess. Alright, so again, without a macro, I can continue doing this shit. I can just do this now. And I can even do it like this if I so wish. By the way, it's suggesting an indentation that I don't like. But maybe that's the way that it's supposed to be done. I don't know. Like, this is the indentation that it suggests. I just don't like it. Alright, so I'm supposed to do that. This symbol. And this symbol. With no extra thing at the end. Close that one. Close that one. It's kind of weird. It looks weird as hell, but I... Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay, so I can interpret my program now. I'm not doing anything with it. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, we do def param accumulator. I'm going to give it a value of 0. Just going to check the syntax on that one real quick. That was correct. Accu is unbound. Okay, so that's not how you do it. Variable. Def parameter. Now I don't understand why they did this with those. I also saw it in the Fireship video. Okay, we're back to it working. Right. So I want you to do that, and then do I do lambda? How do I chain two expressions together? Like after this, I want you to do something else. Do I just do this? Yeah, pretty much. All right. Not sure why I thought I needed everything to be chained like that. There's no reason. You can just put two expressions right under each other. It's a convention. All right, that's kind of ugly. Although to be fair, yeah, okay. So, let me see the Fireship video actually. So I still have it open. Okay. If I still have it open. Oh, that's a constant. That's a constant. Yep.
parameter with the let keyword, and it will be lexically scoped to the context in which it's defined. However, you can also define global variables with def parameter or def var, which are dynamically scoped and can be used anywhere. All these variables can be modified. However, you can also create immutable.
Okay, he doesn't explicitly say anything about how they it's so they don't clash. That makes sense. But you can override them manually. I feel like okay, I'm gonna play the video for a second.
Data with def.
Okay, so I thought I disconnected my headphones. I wanted to see if they still work. Hello, Z Special. Yes. So I'm ready to now modify the accumulator in here. How can I do that? Can I do that? How do I override? How do I override? Okay, so I think he was doing this
to
here.
define a function. It can take one or more parameters and is optionally followed by a string to define its purpose. We can use
Okay,
the
there it
star
is.
operator to multiply pi by the input radius, and the last expression in the function body will automatically be used as the return value. It was the first language to support higher order functions, where we might do something like create a list, then
Right, okay. So the return value is going to be useful for what I want, but it isn't what I want right now. Because right now I'm doing it with a for loop. I'm doing it very Odin style, like they do it here. An accumulator, they modify it, and then they read it at the end. That's what I'm trying to do. Eventually, I'll want to do the more, for that matter, I can open that project here as well, the more functional version, because I do enjoy functional programming. And I have written the same program in Swift with functional programming, where we return, and the Gleam, which kind of does the same thing. Alright. So I like this. I like this. So far, I like it. I just wish I had something a little bit more complex to build with it. Like, maybe I'll have to come up with an idea, and I'll just do a small little project just to play around with this in a real setting of sorts, but I'll need to think of something. Really, anything involving lists. Anything that I have with data manipulation. Maybe I'm just gonna rewrite my entire programming language's parser with this thing. Okay, no. I mean, no, but also yes. Best thing to build with Lisp is an interpreter. That's kind of what I felt, yeah. That's why I said, like, yeah, I could do that. Should build a Lisp interpreter to replace this fucking thing. That feels like a good idea. Just also feels like an idea that you should probably do once you know the language a little bit more than 1 hour and 57 minutes. Of which like 30 or 40 were like yapping, so really 1 hour. Have I really been streaming for 2 hours? It feels like 10. Alright. Anyway, okay, so how do I modify the global value of my variable? Because I don't believe what I did here is going to do that. It is not going to do that. Let me see. Okay, assign variable lisp. Should be enough to just assign it. It shouldn't matter which. Declaring and modifying. Mutating existing set. I don't like that syntax at all. That didn't work. Do I have to... There we go, and it worked. It worked. Look at that. It worked. Right, so I'm gonna quickly implement all of this. It's been a while since I've wrote this, but if I'm not mistaken, this is how it works. The result should be something like 7.5 or 7. I'm not sure if this is using... Can I make it use decimal values? Hold on, let me try it without that and try it with that. See the whole process. Anyway, here we're dividing by 2. And then we are setting the AQ to multiply by itself. What did I do wrong? The value 4 is not of type symbol when binding symbol. Oh, totally. You got a point there. Totally. No idea what you're talking about. Can you tell me where? Set 416. Set 416. Are those offsets? Maybe? That's an interesting way of interpreting my program. But could you tell me which one? The only issue I have with this entire thing is this shit. That is my only issue with it. Everything else, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Is there an alternative? The sabbatical alternative. Not in great condition, okay. Slime. Slime is for Emacs, isn't it? Yeah. Closure is probably better. Isn't that a language though? I'm okay with Common Lisp. I just want a different interpreter. Again, if I had more than 2 hours, now officially 2 hours, of experience with the language, I would actually love to build a better interpreter for it. Because genuinely, what does this mean? Where did I make the mistake? Which one of these is wrong? Is it the division? Is it the... Can I just do this and see? There we have it. That's the issue. Three halves. 3 halves. Wait, I might have put an extra parenthesis there and just not realized it. No, that wasn't it. Oh wait, hold on. Column 23 on line 1, file position 23. What do you mean? Here? How is that a problem though? Syntax kind of broke here a little bit. Use code with caution. Huh. Am I? Hold on. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit wary of this thing. Can I just try that real quick? Nah, the same error happens. Okay. So at the very least, we might keep not condition. We might keep convention and call it like this, even though it's absolutely horrifying. No, wait, now I'm missing a parenthesis. So maybe before I was missing a parenthesis, now having a double one. Okay. This gives me 15 divided by 2, which is the correct value of this thing, 7.5, so the program runs fine. I find it very interesting that it gives me fractional values. This is genuinely a whole new world. What happens if I do it like this? 7.5. Whole new world. It is an entirely different paradigm, an entirely different way of doing things, which is great. I don't think it's so much about like how I'm printing, more so I feel like it's, well, to be fair, it might cast and do that, yeah. But this is an integer. Well, now it's a float, but now it's an integer. An integer. Alright, so this here is my non-functional version of my program, which we can just comment out and instead do the functional version of the program, which for the sake of it, I am going to set into the accumulator and print the value of the accumulator, but we don't technically need to do that, I think. Okay, set accu to what? To map. Again, it uses map car, and I don't understand why. No, was that in variables maybe? No. Lists? It wasn't lists, yeah. It says map car, even though it's... Alright, anyway, we have to build this whole thing now in functional. So define, which it feels like define but misspelled. Define. The name of this function is going to be the functional one. Functional version of our Odin program. Let's call it ODIN. Make it sound cool like that. Alright, and it is going to take a value x. No. I mean, I'm doing reduce here, unless you already have a reduce. Yeah, there it is. I'm doing a reduction, so I need two values. The accumulator and the value. Why is one... Do I have to use a lambda? Can I not create it in a function outside? This feels kind of weird. Yeah, I'm gonna try. Accumulator and value v. Right, and this I think stays the same, where this is my program body and this is my function. Maybe even do this. But now instead of setting the accumulator, I just return a plus 1. minus A1. Am I maybe adding extra parentheses here? I think I am. I'm not super used to the parentheses yet. A times 2 A divided by 2 and A times A. Or simply return A otherwise for anything else. And what I'm going to do is I am going to reduce into the accumulator by calling my functional programming function, passing it hold on, lisp reduce on string. Did I say it reduce on list? Lisp reduce on string. My god. Probably gonna give me an answer eventually. Let's say map on string. Characters. Am I speaking Chinese? If I was, Google probably works in that language, so you have no excuse. Maybe strings are just lists. I don't think they are. That didn't work with the for loop. It's worth a shot. No. Well, who knows what the problem is. Line 29. Unmatched parentheses. Alright, here. It wasn't on line 29, but it doesn't matter. At least it told me what was actually wrong with it. Illegal function call. Sorry, hold on. This is the whole if. It has condition, yes, no, okay, 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 yes, no, close, 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 close. Where is the illegal function call exactly? Is it just the A? No. So is it this thing? Probably. This thing is horrifying. It's specifically complaining about this. But how is that an illegal function call? This should be the return value, right? Okay, hold on. Instead of doing this whole thing, let's do again a print. No. A print on A. It's still considered illegal. But again, it says that the issue is here. And I genuinely don't understand how it's illegal. Is it... The else branch is nil? There's no more else branch. Now it's just print. So I do wonder, because they were doing lambda, A, B, print A. That works. Oh, but there's still an error. Okay, so the error is still in this function, but because this function is no longer being called, then the error is gone. Do I maybe have one of these too many? Yep. Okay. Can I go back to using functional here instead of a lambda? Yep. Okay, why are you only printing one, by the way? It's only ever printing one character. And it's plus, plus, minus, divide, multiply, and exponential. That's not the order. But for all of them, it's printing... Oh, A when it should be printing B. Yeah, okay. There we go. Alright, so you can just use a string as a list. Probably can't do that in the... Whoops, that's not right. Alright, so the thing is that this is the body of the function. And it doesn't seem to close. There it is, closing. And this one's closing. Alright, the variable x is unbound. Where am I using x? Oh, yeah. It's b now. The function common lisp user a is undefined. Common lisp user a. I'm starting to see that at least there's an error here, so I can kind of understand that. It is so weird that the language is uppercase when I'm writing it in lowercase. I probably should be writing it in uppercase. I feel like it's just modern programmer sensibilities that makes us write it in lowercase. This is how this language was meant to be written, isn't it? Well, let's experiment after we have something that works. A is undefined. Now, I haven't seen any Lisp in uppercase, but if you look at this, this is all uppercase. This is the uppercase version of my program, too, in a lot of cases. And back in the day, they used to actually write everything in uppercase. So, keep in mind, this is the second oldest higher language programmer. Totally. The second oldest high-level programming language. This is older than C, this is older than B, this is older than A, this is older than everything, except for Fortran, and assembly, and binary. Hold on. I'm still alive. You could? Alright. I'm pointing the fan at him for a bit. Where were we? Okay, so what is the actual problem? The common Lisp user A is undefined. Algol is older. What is Algol? It sounds like a rejected Lord of the Rings character. Raz Al Ghul. Actually, there is something called that. Now, why are we back to speaking Spanish here in this motherfucker, Google? I am begging Google to hire more international engineers. More bilingual engineers. For the love of Christ. For the love of Christ. Now, it clearly sounded Spanish to Google as well, because when I Googled it, it gave me Spanish. (1958). Same year as Lisp. Arguably more influential than the three other high-level programming languages among which it was roughly contemporary: Fortran, Lisp, and COBOL. COBOL's also from back then, you know. I kind of want to try COBOL one day. Because I feel like they say it was very English-like. And I always say that vibecoders are about this close to reinventing COBOL. But the interesting part is vibecoders are becoming less and less popular nowadays, so they're actually like this close now. They're getting further away. Do we have an actual date for release? European and American computer scientists in a meeting in 1958 at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich. Woohoo! European programming language. Uh, it specified 3 different syntaxes: a reference syntax, a publication syntax, and an implementation syntax. This is the map I was looking for earlier. I was looking for a map of which programming languages originated which, and this is kind of what I was looking for. Obviously, it's not complete. But for example, it shows us that speed coding was the first thing here. Incredible name you got going on. They also had Flowmatic, which originated COBOL. Fortran originated from speed coding. Fortran 2 and Algol came from Fortran. Then Algol 60 gave birth to CPL, which gave us BCPL, which gave us C, which gave us this bullshit, which gave us C89 and 90, C99, my beloved, and C11, and C++11, this bullshit, and C++98, this bullshit, and the rest of C++, which just gets worse and worse and worse. It uses call by name semantics for parameter passing. Oh, and yeah, so Timothy Chalamet must love it. So if you do FAI, every time that use that parameter in F, it does the array access. Interesting. You do FA get index B, and get index will be called every time it's used inside of F's body. Not sure if that's useful or not, to be honest. But, alright, that's interesting. Alright, let's go back to my new beloved Lisp. And my new nemesis SBCL, Sabbatical. The only way I can remember those initials is Sabbatical. It does feel very cursed to pass expressions as parameters, but I feel like there might be some cases in which it's useful. I'm just struggling to think of them, but they totally exist, alright? They just go to a different school. Trust me. It's about as useful as LLMs, trust me. Trust me on that one. Compiler is implemented by generating anonymous functions for it. It's low-key like lambdas. Come to think of it. Hold on, now I take that back for LLMs because that could be useful. But not all the time, just in some cases. You know? It's definitely interesting. Okay, where is the problem, brother? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Alright, we're back to this running and no issues whatsoever. So the issue is in here, where I am setting AQ to the reduction of functional with this shit. Am I doing it wrong? Wait, hold on. That was the wrong character, but that's not it. Okay, so what happens if I just reduce it without assigning? Okay, so the problem is inside the reducer, I believe. Is this dog doing okay? He keeps like... Yo. Sup? God damn. Like, so long as it's cold and he's curled up in a ball, I feel like, okay, he's just sleeping. But when he's laying down like this and not moving for hours at a time, it can be a little bit concerning. But actually, he just does this every summer. People thought you were crazy if you wanted to run recursive functions on real hardware. Interesting. And NASA still thinks that to this day. Alright. Reduce function functional. Are we complaining about the name of this thing? Let's call it this shit. No, that's not it. What are we talking about? What is the problem? How is A undefined? Okay, let me try using just one of these. One of these with nothing in between. Okay, so just return nothing. The value nil is not a number. Okay, so return 0 instead. Form 0, illegal function call. You're supposed to return 0, but clearly I'm doing that wrong. Okay, can I just do like this? Just to have some expression. How did I end up on Gleam? Wait, how did I lose my... What was it? Racket? Racket. Not rocket. Racket. That compiled. This compiles. And produces no result, by the way. Alright, so let's start bringing back some code. So far, so good. Print its value. It's gonna be 0 because, well, yeah. There's gotta be better ways of doing this, man. Okay, so you're the problem. How do I just... Can you post the link in chat? Yes. Yes, you're on Twitch, so yes. Okay, so the problem is actually most likely this thing here, but like, how do I just... yeah, that's not it. Because I just did it as... just this. No, that also doesn't work, because the value of this is not a number. What? You were happy with that. What happened? The value this is not a number. Why would it be? That's why I'm doing this. Design of... Alright, I'll look at it in a second. Come on, man. Come on. I feel like as I figure out more issues with what I wrote, I uncover new ones. This works. This works. This works. This does not. And the problem you claim is this not being of type number. What about this? Oh, wait. My accumulator... Ah, hold on. I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Okay. The problem is, I think these two are a different type, or I expect them to be a different type, but this doesn't. Value of v is not a number. Okay, so value of a is not a number, is what you were saying before. Why did the error change now? This was way more understandable. Like, does reduce expect a and v to be the same type? That would make sense. But how do I do it otherwise? How do I make it not do that, essentially? Because I want to reduce this into an integer. But I don't want to map these onto an integer. I want to do mathematical operations based on the value of the characters. Catch the type error. Is that an actual answer? Am I supposed to understand what that means? Hold on. Because, like, for example, here, when I did the same thing, I defined the two types, where one of them was a string and the other one was an int. So it returns, most importantly, an int. I can't really define the return type of this thing. This shit. Could catch it and keep on running. Nah. I understand what I'm doing wrong. And the reduction gets characters on one side and it, okay, so hold on, let me try like reduce with different types. Not quite what I asked in the slightest. Hold on. Man, DuckDuckGo. Don't DuckDuckGo me. Genuinely hard to work with. That engine is horrible. Yeah, functional programming without static types does feel difficult, but it's not like it's meant to do functional programming. This is just very early on. So, yeah, although to be fair, it's not like I'm doing anything particularly complex. So like transforming one type into another is what map is for. I could technically do it if I map the characters onto integers and then I reduce, but that's ugly. That's ugly. Apply functions on lists and vectors of arbitrary length. It repeatedly calls the function with two arguments and walks over the argument list. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, referencing functions by name single quote or sharp sign quote. Safer to use this because it respects the lexical scope. It's shorthand for function and then the name of the function, okay? But that didn't help. That does not help. The question that I asked Google is common Lisp reduce with two types. Is it from the reduce or the callback? It's from the reduce. But the thing is, this is I want this to be a number. I want this to be a character. Reduce does want them to be. Wait. Hold on, one thing that I want to see is I just think it's not treating a like it is an integer. Because if I return an integer here, everything works fine. But if I return a, unless I'm supposed to maybe do it with this, a is not of type number. Which makes sense because if I'm doing a reduce on a string, then I did see them using initial value before. Can I do that? Not like that. Also, it would have been here. Again, I feel like the question that I'm asking Google is not that complicated. It should be able to answer the goddamn question. But apparently, even to tell me you can't do this, even the fucking AI could answer the question. Come on. Not even that. Okay, it kind of gave me the answer. That is what I expected it to be. Not sure if it's correct, but wait, hold on. There's a point in which you're Googling shit and it just does not give you the answer no matter what you're Googling. It just kind of breaks. Initial value. The type of A is probably a character. Because it's working over reducing the string, which is a series of characters. It used to be that you used to Google something and you used to get the result. Now I have to prompt it like an LLM, otherwise I don't get the correct answer. Which, by the way, if I actually click this, all of a sudden I get the correct answer, except it's not actually correct. It's telling me that unless I'm using the initial value wrong. Did you need to vomit out this whole code, for the love of God? I am inside of the reduce. Okay, so hold on. Now, let's make a very simple Google search. Reduce initial value lisp. Initial value is an object. Ah, okay, hold on. I would have to do it with this symbol. Though it still didn't work. The value AQ is not of type number. Brother? That looks like a number to me. How can it possibly not be of type number? Although, maybe you're talking about this? Okay, now you're straight up lying to me though, because this is very much of type number. I don't know what you're talking about. But also, isn't it so convenient that now you want it to be a number, but before it was a problem if it was a number? What? Am I reading that wrong? Also, okay, so hold on. The syntax here broke. Or so far it's been working pretty perfect. So, okay, let's get back to... Now, this value is not of type number. This value, where I'm trying to do a character equal between this and this. So are you turning this into a number? Alright, let me do a different function, because for the love of God. Define fn2 accumulator and value. This time I'm going to write it with a b. Just return the accumulator. Alright, give us that. Give us that. Let's try that. What's your fuck-ass problem now? Probably just here. Okay. Okay, there we have it. Alright, what about if you return b? That gives me nothing. These are numbers now. What if I do this? They're still numbers. B is a number now. Alright, so if... Hold on. If equal b to 0, then I want you to return 1, otherwise I want you to return 0. Okay, so I did something wrong. Because the value is not a number. The value being this. So you're trying to compare them as numbers. Is 0 not a character? So the first one is a character. Alright, let me see if it's this. Interesting. Alright, so for example, if I make it return this, what about A? Otherwise, 2. It's never returning 0, so return 3? Oh, because this is the print for the accumulator. Okay. Never mind. I see the issue. So we want to set the accumulator to this thing. And then we want to print it back. Alright, its value is 3. Alright, so make this A now. 2, and make this okay. Otherwise, just return the accumulator as it is. Now it's no longer number. What? Wait, the value, this shit is not of type number. This shit, where do you see this shit? I'm not using this anymore. Where is that coming from? This worked until I did this. This works. This does not. Because this value is not a number. So am I misinterpreting which one is the accumulator and which one is the value? Is that what's it's that actually what's happening? Holy mother of no, no it isn't. No it isn't. No it isn't. I have no idea what's happening anymore. Which one is the accumulator? Which one is the other one? At no point do we ever know which is which. I have no idea what's happening anymore. Lisp is interesting. The interpreter is kind of shit. I'm having a really hard time understanding what the errors are. Lisp is nice though. I like Lisp. I don't like this thing. I don't like the sabbatical. Brother, this does not work. Because this is not of type character, so this is a character. Okay, so clearly here I'm supposed to be using the A, and here I'm supposed to be using the B. This works. But if I make this the A... Alright, so what happens if I just straight up do this? Just a completely meaningless operation. I am so confused. Now, this I expected to work. Okay, I'm telling you, if this condition is true, do this, which works. If it's false, do this, which is a syntax error. Am I reading that correctly? I feel like I'm reading that correctly. It's just not making a whole lot of sense to me. To arg, try something else. Alright, so I'm going to tell you the initial value is 0. Alright, now use A. Now use A. Ah. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I think I'm ready to introduce another condition, right? So that's the condition for if it's a division. What if it's this, where I actually want you to add 1 to A. Otherwise, I want you to divide 8 by 1, which does nothing. Okay, let's just use... Hold on. That's my bad. That's my bad. Okay. If you don't provide an initial value, then the callback is past the first 2 items of the sequence on the first call. Okay. Okay. Okay, so, okay, this. Okay. All right. Oh, and this one outside. With this one inside of it. I'm rewriting the whole thing just for practice at this point. Another one as well. All right, so plus, minus, multiply, divide, and exponential. Just going to multiply a by itself. Default, a divided by 1. All right, this stays the same. This multiplies by 2, and this removes 1 from the accumulated value. There's an error on line 15. Don't know about that. I am missing a parenthesis. Okay. It's working. Now, how do I just make it return a without modifying it? Because I'm dividing a by 1, because I don't know how to do that. Which, by the way, put this thing here. Alright, so there it is, my reduced value. Well, to be fair, this wasn't working before, but maybe now it will. Okay, now it works. Okay. Okay. Thank God. Okay. Now, I want you to just print this. And start with a 0.0 initial value, which gives us 7.5. Whew. That was definitely something. Holy shit. Alright. Now, actually, this is the old function. No, I meant to keep that. Get rid of that. And that. See, because here I was allowed to do it, but because this one's not returning anything. Alright, and get rid of the old version of this. Call this one functional. Put it here. Make sure it still runs. Good. Alright, and then run both. No! Oh, invalid number of arguments. Yeah, you're correct about that. Because what I wanted to do is let an ACK, initial value 0, be used in there printed here. Although I'm pretty sure I'm going to need another parenthesis. And passed in here as well. No, something wrong. I'm declaring a variable called ACK with value 0. I am then not matching this, I'm pretty sure. So the loop opens here, closes nowhere. That is the issue. Alright. That's still not right, though. Is that not how you do that? Can I not do this syntax for declaring a variable? Probably not, because I'm doing it inside of a let here. So, okay, we're better off just doing a def parameter, ACK 0, pass that here. Print that here. And that did not work. Right. Yeah, no, that's a stupid thing I did there. Unfortunate, but you guys, and you guys all need to use the ACK like that. And I need to remove that damn thing from it. There we go. Okay. I really hate the interpreter. This damn thing, the sabbatical is fucking awful. Return the new yeah, but the point is to not do it in a functional manner in that one. So I don't really want to do that. I want to use a proper accumulator and all that in this one. This is the non-functional version. This one is supposed to use return types, so yeah. Alright, let's close the terminal real quick. We got all our code here. It feels weird, but I like it. Well, it feels weird. The parentheses, obviously, I'm not used to them. It feels like functional programming, but functional programming languages have better type systems, which prevent a lot of these issues. But it is nice. Let statements do deepen the scope, and that's not very nice. I don't necessarily like that part too, yeah. But for that matter, they don't really allow you to do a whole thing inside of it. Like, I couldn't have two statements inside of a let like I was trying to do. I can't do that. Unless I put them in a lambda or something like that, but that's just extra syntax on top of it. I like functional programming. I like that, so I enjoy doing this. Interpreter aside. I just feel like, with a better type system, it might resolve some issues that this has. Maybe Clojure has a better type system. Maybe Clojure is better. I don't know. I kind of do want to continue doing something with Lisp at some point or another. Again, something like interpreters and whatnot are probably the easiest way to work with Lisp. The thing is, I used to kind of need an interpreter at some point. Now I'm not so sure I do. For like the terminal and whatnot. But one thing that's true is I don't necessarily... Well, I think that for terminal scripting, I wanted to use some functional programming for terminal scripting in my operating system. But I don't think I would go with Lisp. But I don't hate the idea of Lisp. I have to think about it a little bit more. Like, do I want to keep using this? Do I want to do something with this? I need to think about it. But that's for me to consider, and maybe to do a little side project in Lisp eventually, or maybe Clojure eventually, if I'm interested in doing that. But again, I don't mind this. I don't mind this. I like it. I like it. Anyway, this is going to be it for today. Yeah, going back to my usual content on Friday, but not to my usual streaming times yet. Or maybe I am, actually, I'm not sure, but okay. Friday I'm streaming at my usual time, 8:30 p.m. Probably gonna continue doing some of the documentation stuff, some of the terminal stuff as well for the operating system. And yeah, eventually in the future, if I want to do something with either functional programming or Lisp specifically, I'll figure something out. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you Friday.